Hello and welcome to Driving Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan,
I'm Ryan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into this week's episode, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Driving Double Feature Podcast. Over there, we have a bunch of bonus content, and for $5 a month, you help support the show, help us get those streaming services so we can watch these movies easily. But no main show content is locked behind the Patreon. But getting into this week's episode, we are talking about our first ever 1953 movie. I know all those fans were like, "Why are you ignoring 1953?" Well,
That's
guys,
that's what they all say.
that's what they all say. But guys, I decided it's time to actually go through with it. We're going to talk about It Came from Outer Space, from Universal Pictures, directed by Jack Arnold, starring Richard Carlson and Barbara Rush. And I should say, I'm just going to, right from the top, this is a Golden Globe award-winning movie.
Wait,
Uh,
this movie.
um,
I when I saw that, I saw that it was like Golden Globe winner. I'm like, for what? And
and
then
it's for like the most throwaway award of of best upcoming star, Barbara Rush, which is true. She went on to be in a bunch of stuff. So I mean, I guess they kind of had it right.
I
Um,
guess,
and
but
she,
I was just like, but somebody saw this movie, like they saw this movie and was like, this girl's going places.
for whatever reason, it's out of all the movies, out of all the women in movies in 1953. Was it a slow year? I don't know. But this movie is based off of a screenplay from Ray Bradbury, who is like a famous science fiction author. I guess some other things to note that this was a 3D movie. It was actually the first 3D movie from Universal. And I guess I'll ask you, every version that I could find online was a colorized version. Did you?
Yes.
I'm guessing you watched yeah. I haven't watched a colorized black and white movie for a little bit, and I always forget just how awful it looks.
Well, there's varying degrees of quality, I feel like, for
Yeah.
colorized black and white movies, because there are some where they do actually take
Hmm.
the time to like go frame by frame to like colorize it. Because I have seen some not great looking ones, but it doesn't look
Bad.
awful. But this one was a very poor quality colorized
Yeah,
version.
the colors kind of they seep outside like the lines where they need to be. It also makes nighttime
People
not
change
really.
colors.
Yeah, people change colors. Cars are like shades of purple. I don't know. A little odd, but it is what it is. But yeah, it came from outer space. I've kind of heard of this movie, and I think it was interesting watching this, just how many like tropes came from this. Because I'm pretty sure this started like the whole I guess just getting in later in the movie, this movie has that plot line of like the aliens not wanting to show themselves because they're too scary. That if humans saw their true form, they would be in horror. I'm guessing this is where that came from because seen that parodied a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the one I like the most famous one I could think of is Contact, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. See, I've never seen Contact, but that's a thing in Contact.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of spoilers if you haven't seen it,
Oh,
but
Ryan, no, I've never spoiled a movie for you.
never. But no, I that trope has been like a thing before where it's just like, oh, is this form more pleasing to you?
Hmm. I think about South Park. There's like that episode
Yeah.
of South Park where they do that.
That lady's
Um,
like, oh yeah, I wanted you to be a taco that craps ice cream instead.
that's right. Yeah, which that's LOL random humor, right? So funny.
Turns into a pickle, funniest shit I've ever seen.
There we go. Yes. Well, Rick and Morty one day, people.
You gotta be
But
smart to watch them.
yeah, I've been reading a lot of books recently trying to gain smart for Rick and Morty. Um, but but anyway, moving into It Came from Outer Space. This movie starts off really quickly. It starts off with a couple. One's an astronomer and one's an astrologist, right? Like at least she knows a lot about astrology. She's just talking about like Pisces and like all that garbage, and then like he's talking about stars and
All the
planets and
garbage.
all that garbage.
Oh,
um,
well, at least it's equal opportunity garbage. Thank you.
yeah, I tried my best to make sure they're both garbage, but both are not real sciences.
Mm.
I'm kidding, people. If you didn't couldn't tell,
Astrology, yeah, astrology is the real one.
astrology's real, yes. But anyway, they see a meteor falling down to Earth, and of course, they become interested in it. Um, so they get their friend, what's his name? Just some guy that owns like a helicopter that can fly them out there. He's just like some kind of like redneck dude. Um,
Yeah.
and they bring him out there. The dude goes alone, and guess what he finds? It's a spaceship that has crashed on Earth, not a meteor, and it's buried itself underground. Um, and then this starts like a paranoia movie. So common in the 50s, especially with your more popular science fiction. It feels like a classic, like, oh, this is kind of like communism and all that, the blacklisting, because nobody believes him, like these aliens are underground, and he has to convince them, like, no, no, there's something down there, people.
And they don't want to follow him.
No, and they don't want to follow him, and like everybody,
They're
and
like,
people.
they're just down here. If you just come down here and look, you'll see exactly what I'm talking. No,
No.
you're lying. No way.
Yeah, it's easily provable that that it's real, but I'm not gonna listen to you. And even his girl is like, can you please not tell them and it's an alien? They're gonna think you're crazy.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
he's like, oh no, you don't believe me either. She's like, I don't know.
yeah, I mean nobody believes him. I mean, the whole town rolls up to find out what's going on, and he knows something fishy is going on. But it becomes like a paranoia tale. He's going around and trying to figure out what the aliens are doing. But as we'll get into the movie later, I do think it flips it a little bit to make it a little more interesting than just that. Screw it, I'll just go into it. As we come to find out, these aliens actually are not very mean, and they just want to get off the planet, and it becomes the story of this guy actually trying to protect these aliens from people so they can get off the planet as quickly as possible. And it's not like these aliens are good people, too. These aliens kidnap people and take their bodies and use clones in order to fix their spaceship. I don't know. I thought that twist on this normal idea to be kind of interesting. A guy protecting the aliens.
I mean, at first I was kind of thinking, like, oh, okay, that's going to be like you said, like an invasion of the body snatchers type of thing, where it's like they
Mhm.
infect the people or whatever, and then they get them to do certain things, like because they've infiltrated us or like as a community or whatever. And
Mhm.
um, when it was kind of revealed that it's like no, like they're the good guy, like they're technically good aliens. They're not. They just want to. They were on their way to another planet. They're not here to do anything to our planet. And
What were they going to do with that other planet? Huh?
I don't think they say, do they?
No, they don't. They just say we were on their way to another planet. That makes me think they were going to go somewhere else and destroy another one.
Look, we were going to go destroy another planet, not your planet. And they go, oh, okay, that's fine. You can go.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care about those people.
But they do, it does kind of start real small because do you- I thought that one conversation was a little weird. Like when I think it's like the electrician or like the guy that works for like the phone company or
Yeah, like
something.
he like works like the telephone lines or whatever.
Yeah, and then they have like this big, like introspective, like philosophical conversation. Like it's like, what is out there? It's like, I don't know. Like I see you as far as I could see on the planes or something, it's like that.
Yeah, yeah, because like the whole conversation, it's like, oh, it could be somebody listening in, or we could be sending it out. Like, who's out there? Yeah, you're right. That is a really odd part of the movie. I kind of liked it, even though I feel like it might have been a little bit of filler. This movie is a short 80 minutes long. Um, but it has fun little moments like that.
No,
Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like I'm not saying this is a bad movie by any means. It's
No.
very I guess I don't I mean basic sounds like a little too mean because that's not really what I'm wanting to say, but it's a very standard movie, I guess.
No, it's very of its time. It feels like a 50s sci-fi movie. Maybe not like B movie ish, like not like super cheesy, but I've seen it before. We've seen this plot before. Like we know what's going on. I guess standard is the best. That's what I took out of this. But it's not bad. I
No.
think you can get some fun out of this one. Especially like with such a weird alien design too. So the alien, we get to see its true form and kind of taking people over. It's like a giant green blob with like one eye. Um, it's and it like envelops people like almost in a cloud. It actually leads to some interesting stuff, like how the camera, we see him from like the camera is the point of view of the monster, and you actually see through its eye, which is odd. I think it's really creative for the time.
I like the visuals for that, and I liked when they ever did attacked anybody that you just see like this big cloud of smoke envelop people, and then they just disappear, type of
Hmm.
thing. Um, I wasn't really sure like because it seemed like they were trying like there were like just getting like random people, and I wasn't really sure like what they were
Hmm.
going for because like there was like those like coal miners, I guess, like at the very like at one
Yes.
point because they appear and they're just like, oh man, when's he gonna be coming back with some food? I'm hungry, and
Hmm.
and
Well,
and they get enveloped by the smoke. But I guess that was to get rid of them so that way they could like go down into the mine shaft.
I think so, yeah. So they could go into the mine shaft to work on their ship, because that's what they do. They take it all underground so they could work on it. And then what they do is they clone the humans so they can go in the town and easily get all of the supplies that they need to fix their ship. Um, but I think that's what makes this movie feel kind of standard, is it does hit like a kind of a rhythm of like, we have our main characters going around figuring out clues, getting closer to the answers of the aliens, and then there'll be a scene of the aliens taking over people, and then it's just kind of that repeated back and forth, and it gets into like a samey rhythm to it. Not that that's bad, especially because it's short. It just it's not, I wasn't excited the whole time. I would say like some scenes I was a little uninterested.
It's not filmed in a very dynamic way or anything.
Yeah.
It's very, like I said, it's very standard movie, like what you would expect to see like on the Sci-Fi Channel, like at
Hmm.
noon on a Saturday or something like that. Like you're just kind of lazy and you just watch like there's like, oh, what's this weird sci-fi movie kind of, and um, it's not going to have anything new into it. Like, I was kind of hoping, I guess, with the imposter syndrome that they would have done something a little more
Hmm.
interesting because there are like little moments where like you do see like because one of the phone line workers, there's two of them there,
Hmm.
and originally they're like okay, like they find them and they find like a trail of blood leading from their truck, and you're just like, oh, like what's going on here? And it's very clear that there's something wrong with one of the telephone workers because he's already been copied at this point,
Hmm.
and he's like they keep saying like, oh, like he's like you can kind of see through him a little bit because of the sunshine, and they're
Hmm.
like, oh, we found all this blood, and he's like, oh, I cut my hand, but he doesn't want you to see the cut.
Hmm.
And
And he has a very different way of speaking. He speaks like in a very monotone voice.
and they do have the scene where his partner or whatever is lying on the ground unconscious
Hmm.
over there, and Johnny, the main astronomer, does see it, but he doesn't call attention to it or anything like that. Like, because he kind of looks over and glances his head, and and they cut
Hmm.
to the frame of like his hand laying on the ground, like he's behind like a rock or something. So I was kind of hoping like it would go like in a little more direction like that. Not saying, I guess, a little more violent direction is what I wanted, but I was kind of hoping for something like, I guess, a little more dynamic.
Exactly, yeah. Because then it doesn't, I mean, it uses that throughout, and that's how people find out something weird's going on. I think that one time it's used best, and why I think maybe it won the Golden Globe, is that Barbara Rush, who plays let me get her character's name, Ellen gets cloned. And I think that change is really cool because she becomes more monotone and almost like a femme fatale, because her clothes, because I don't know, they clone her and they're like, let's change her clothes, let's give her a new wardrobe, because she wears an all black dress, and she kind of like leads him to like an underground bunker and tries to kill him by having him almost trip into like a crevice. I thought that that was done really well. I thought that was cool. And that's where everything falls apart because the town is looking for these aliens and Johnny has to try to stop them, but he pretty much fails. So the aliens are like, "No, screw you. We're going to actually just destroy your planet now. We're going to destroy your planet and go because you couldn't protect us." And I think that kind of ups the energy a little bit because you don't really know where it's going to go. I didn't know if it was going to be like, "Oh, now they have to kill all the aliens," or he's going to have to convince them that humans are good, which it becomes that it becomes convincing humans are good because I guess like you said this movie doesn't really go the violent route. I think it goes for the low budget, easier to do route. But I still think that's a fun part of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, you can have good aliens, like what was it, like the Earth stood still, the day the Earth stood still, where it's like
Hmm.
that one when he that one guy, he's like he actually is like a good alien, and the people are trying to like they don't like him. But
Yeah.
in this one, I guess I was thinking more along the lines that we're going to do a lot more with that, because like even like with the Barbara Rush moment, even though I do like that moment, it's not really effective because or like effective in the long run because the clone or whatever her just ends up falling in the crevice and then dies.
Yeah, that is
And
true.
so, and then it's just like, oh no, she's fine. Like the real one's fine. Like nothing's really happened to any of these people that were cloned. They're just like they were all like corralled into this cave and just be like, oh no, everyone's good. Like no harm, no
Mhm.
foul. And I I guess I don't know. I just wanted a little more of the stakes to be had. I I do like the more of like the paranoia aspect of some of it. Like I what I thought it was funny is how much like how much people were trying to discredit Johnny, and it's like even like on that radio station, it's like some hot
I
shot
thought that was so
astronomer
funny.
is trying to make this into a big publicity stunt for his own fame.
Hmm. Which could you imagine getting called out on the radio station that you're listening to? Like,
Be
you
like, what
dumb
the hell?
idiot. Yeah, I'd be so mad. It would also come out of nowhere. Um,
It's
yeah,
like I was
no,
trying to protect you people, and now you want me to be
yeah,
make it seem like I'm an idiot.
that's the thing about Johnny is Johnny's like screwed no matter what because like everyone just like doesn't believe him or hates him because he has like a buddy who's like who believes that it's an alien, but he's like, if you don't tell me where they're at, I'm gonna things are gonna go poorly for you, buddy. So like he's screwed if he doesn't, and screwed if he does. But
Well,
it
and then the sheriff of the town like has like major beef with him too.
exactly. It pretty much hates him from like the get go, from the start of the movie.
Well, like because when he does report the initial UFO landing, the sheriff is like the first one out there, just being like, why'd you come out here and waste my time? Like this, obviously, this would be great for you if there was aliens, but you just were just wanting to make up a big story, kind of. And then eventually, he does believe because those people that were cloned or whatever, they do act really weird. And one shot I do like a lot is when he does find like the copies of those telephone line workers and he follows them like down to an alley and then they walk inside of the building. He like opens the door and they're just standing there and you just see like the silhouettes of their
That was cool.
shadows.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
that
just like this like foreboding type of look to it.
yeah, and they're just telling you they're just like saying we don't, just make sure the humans aren't away. It is foreboding. It's like one of the more stylistic choices in the movie. But like you said, there is no stakes because in the end, the way the movie works is he blocks off the cave they're in, tells the town like, "Hey, I killed them. They're dead in there," but they do get away in their spaceship, back to their planet or back to the planet they're going to destroy later. Do you think they kept all the clones alive? Like how did they work that?
We don't Well, because all the people that were cloned, they were totally fine,
Yes,
and
yeah.
they all ran out of the cave at the same time.
Hmm.
So I mean, I'm assuming those were just the aliens in the different bodies, so I guess they
Yeah,
could technically shed that skin or go back to their original form.
and maybe they liked it. I wonder if one of them kept it.
Well, maybe like when they show up to that planet, like when they show up like in a human form, like they scream like like
You do,
it's like
yeah.
maybe this form's more pleasing to you, and then they shape into like the eyeball form.
Yeah, the ugly eyeball form. Yeah, that would be funny. I want to see that in the sequel, which this movie does have a sequel, which is interesting. Which maybe we'll have to touch another time because that
What's that
one
one
see.
called?
1 sec. It is called "It Came from Outer Space 2," but it didn't
Oh,
come out till 1996. Um, yeah,
interesting.
I don't know why they make a sequel so late, but maybe it would be interesting to look at. Um, but I mean, I think this movie's fine. I think it's an okay movie. I don't think there's any real negatives, not anything crazy positive either. That's why I give it a light recommend. Only watch it if you're really into these type of older sci-fi movies. Otherwise, I'd say you don't have to go out of your way to watch it.
Yeah, that's pretty much my exact thoughts. I wouldn't necessarily, I'd give it a very light recommend. I would just
Mhm.
say like, if you're a big sci-fi buff, this might be something kind of interesting, but it's pretty much ideas that you've seen before already. So
Mhm.
it's nothing new, but it's not bad either.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up for this one. But Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, what's the one thing you hate the most in this world?
Oh God. Driving double. Whoa. Hold on.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoops. I thought you asked what do I love? I don't know. I don't hate many things. Tell me.
Well, I'll tell you what I hate more than anything, getting my car towed.
Oh, in this part of town, it happens all the time.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be tackling a real controversial subject with the movie Towing, and that is for free on Tubi right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch that one. And if you want to email us at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. You can also check out our Patreon at patreon.com/driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast. But until next time.
Until next time.